Hey Brogan, this is Mrs. Skoglund. Just wanted to give you a little bit of feedback on your summer assignment. And so we're mostly going to be talking about this chapter 2 question since that was the one that you had starred. But I'll kind of reference, some other things as we're going through your assignment as well. So starting off, in a formal body paragraph, the first thing I always look for is a topic sentence, and we want that topic sentence to sort of preview the paragraph and be an answer to the question that was provided. So, Brogan, I think you do a nice job of like introducing the topic. So, like this one, you say, the 3 A's are the need for R-directed thinking. But notice, like, that's kind of what the question already said, right? So, that word explain, I think you need to give a little bit more of an answer to that in your topic sentence. So, tell me, without getting too into the details, but tell me a little bit of why those factors have impacted this need. Same thing actually at the end of your paragraph with your concluding sentence. I thought, you're not necessarily saying anything that's incorrect, but you're not really answering the question, or especially at the end of the paragraph, like providing some significance to it. Okay, so just something maybe you might want to go back and revise. The next thing I looked at, and I thought actually like the strongest part of your paragraph, Brogan, sorry, I'm going to put this in here real quick, was your selection and your embedding of evidence. So like in this paragraph in particular, I liked how you picked one quote that talked about abundance, and then you had another quote that talked about automation. So I thought that was a really good way to develop the paragraph, and very clearly, obviously, is tying back to the question. You are also doing a nice job of what we call embedding your evidence, or like integrating it into your own writing. So like if I read this second one out loud, it says automation increases the need for R-directed thinkers because routine functions are increasingly being turned over to machines. What's great about that is that your writing flows right into the quote, and so that's exactly what we want. The only thing, and this is a tiny little thing, is this ellipsis or the 3 dots. If you've already, like if you're going to do a quote, which is called a flow quote like this, where it just flows right together, you only use that if you take out part in the middle of the quote. If it's at the beginning or the end, we know as the reader it's not a complete sentence, and so you don't need that there. So that's just kind of a small little thing to fix. The next thing I looked for was commentary, which should be after your evidence and explaining, like, basically why does this piece of evidence answer this question. I think you're on the right track, Bergen, like you're not just summarizing the quote. However, like if you look at a lot of your commentary, it's very short and just almost a little bit too short. So I think it would be developed better if you maybe gave some examples or got to the significance of like, if routine functions are being turned over to machines, like what does that mean for R-directed thinking, not just L-directed, right? So maybe expanding like just a little bit there. Next, I looked at conventions and in-text citations. One thing I noticed on conventions is that you have a couple fragments, and I noticed one here, and then I think you had a very similar one, yeah, right here. The problem here, Brogan, is if I say like meaning that more unique and design-based products are going to be more appealing to people, basically the issue, and we're going to learn about this in a few weeks, is that you don't have a subject to that sentence. So it's what we call a fragment. It's not a complete sentence. So I would really encourage you to like read it out loud and make sure like everything makes sense. And again, we're going to work on that coming up in a few weeks. In-text citations are really close. There's just no period here, or not period, comma here. Okay, it's just pink 33. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was your R-directed activities. I thought you did a good job there. I enjoyed reading your letter to me, and I feel you. I feel like a lot of people procrastinate, so that's okay. But I liked how you talked about the book connecting to ecom, and I thought that was a good connection that I hope you'll see as the semester goes on too.